Hey, good morning, everybody. It's Bobby, and today's lesson is a little bit more philosophical in nature. Yes, I have a golf club in my hand, but that's only because I find it easier to form sentences when I'm holding on to something. This lesson, I thought of this earlier today when I overheard a discussion between two people talking about golf. Hey, how'd you play today? And the other guy replied, well, I played pretty well, but I could have played even better. I shot this, but I should have shot this. Now, when I hear that, and when you hear this, you know this too. When someone says that I shot this, but I should have shot that, that second number is always lower. No one in the history of mankind has ever said, well, I shot 90, but I should have shot 98. That's never happened. In fact, until I just said it 5 seconds ago, it's never been uttered ever. And that's because in large part we're all wired the same way, and that is we feel like we're deserving of the good luck, but when there's bad luck, it's those deceitful golf gods who've just dealt me some undue cruelty, and we feel like we've been singled out. But yet, as I say, when our ball stops 3 inches short of the white stakes, almost went out of bounds but didn't, we don't think much about it. Or when it's 6 inches short of the water, or when we hit a tree branch, instead of going farther into the woods, we go out in the middle of the fairway and we knock the next one on and make a par. We don't think much about that. That doesn't factor into what we should have shot. But anyway, getting into the lesson here, it's true that most golfers don't play as well as they think they should, and really that they ought to. And nobody plays as well as they want to. And the question isn't why can't Bill play as well as Ted? The question is why can't Bill play as well as Bill should, given his personal history, the amount of time he puts into the game, and his practice habits. And eliminating all other options, Bill only has Bill's own brain to look into. Now, in talking about this, I'm reminded of when I was 15 years old. I was playing on the baseball team, the city ball, and I was at the end of my sophomore year, and I was playing a Sunday night game. I wasn't a great baseball player, but in this particular game, I did pretty well, I thought. And the next day at school, Mr. Smith, one of my teachers, said, "Hey, Bobby, I saw you at the park last night. You had your baseball uniform on. You have a game?" Oh, I thought, oh boy, this is great. I'm going to get to tell him about my great game. I said, "Yeah." He said, "How'd you do?" I said, "Well, our team lost. My team didn't do well, but I did. I got 2 hits and 2 walks, and I stole a base." And Mr. Smith looked at me and he said, "Bobby, did you drive in any runs?" I said, "No." He said, "Did you score any runs?" I said, "No." He said, "Well, you didn't do anything either." And though I found that a little deflating, I couldn't deny it. He's absolutely right. This game offensively is about run production. And I didn't score any runs. I didn't do anything to contribute to that. And so the reason that's analogous is so many times people are focusing on their golf and doing things that aren't going to lead to better scoring. And I want to talk about these 3 areas that need more focus. That these are the areas that are not just getting hits, but actually scoring runs. If you can take it out of golf and put it in baseball for a moment. Actually doing things that will help your game. And there are 3. And I want to talk about them. I'll say them quickly, and then I'll expound on each one of them just a little further. First thing is you have to hit your ball in play. I didn't say long, I didn't say anything, I said in play. We've got to keep that ball in play. Number 2, you can't chip twice. If you chip twice, you are not going to make a good score, and if you do that on anything approaching regularity, you're really going to be in trouble. And the final thing is the 3-putt. You can't chip twice, and you can't take 3 putts. Let me start at the very top there with hitting the ball in play and give you some things just to think about going forward here. Harvey Pinnock, who wrote Harvey Pinnock's Little Red Book, the all-time greatest selling sports book, not just golf book, but sports book in history, was at Austin Country Club. And after the book came out, he spent his last years as the starter. And of course, he was famous by this point. And some of the people teeing off would go, "Hey, Harvey, we're about to play. You got any advice for us before we go out there?" And here's one of the greatest teachers of all time. They're expecting to hear something technical. But he would say, "Here, come over here. Hand me your golf ball." And he would write something on it, his initials or something identifiable, and say, "Show me this golf ball at the end of your round and you will have played as well as possible." Meaning, if you don't lose any balls, if you keep the start and finish the entire game with 1 ball, you will have done a tremendous amount for your game. At least you will not have lost these shots. Remember, you cannot save shots with your driver. All you hope to do is not lose shots. That's the most important thing. You save shots with your short game. The job of the driver is to keep the ball in play, somewhere north and south, not right behind a tree, not right in the lake, not right out of bounds, but somewhere north and south where you can go get a club on it again. If you hit it to the 150 marker and you have a 150 left, that's great. If you have it 185 left, you still have a shot at the green. Remember, even from 150, you may miss the green, and you're still going to have to chip just like you will from 180. And so the big thing is you don't hit the thing out of play, because remember, if you hit a ball out of play, then you would have been better off whiffing, missing the ball completely. And you'd have been way better off if you'd have just hit an 8-iron out there and kept it safe. And so as you're practicing, as you're coming out here, ask yourself not how can I hit the ball further, but how can I more reliably hit that thing between the goalposts. Set yourself up a fairway. That flag there is the left edge of the fairway. That flag there is the right side of the fairway. And I'm going to stand here and I'm going to hit shots and I'm going to imagine this so that I have a positive image to conjure when I go play, because I've not just spent my time hitting the ball to nothing, nowhere in particular, judging my success only on how far the ball goes, but rather how accurately. Let's talk about the second part. The second part is never chipping twice. If you chip twice and you do that regularly, you're really just a mess. The game is exceedingly difficult for you, and you haven't really got any right, I don't know if that's the word, to practice any part of the game until you get that straight, because you're just throwing away shots. The short game should be the simplest. The fundamentals are certainly simpler. The effort is considerably less, and so you can practice it longer without feeling the fatigue that would necessitate quitting. And it is the simplest if a person can just learn to get confidence and relax. Because a person who lashes out freely with the driver will often tighten every muscle in their body when they have a 25-foot chip shot. And so it's the standard chip that must be mastered, and only after that is mastered should we go more with these clever cuts and spins and high lofted pitches around the green. It's very tempting to want to know how to hit the flop shot. But if your standard chip, that is a level lie, a level green, no obstruction to go over, is anything other than superlative, if you don't have that thing down where from 25 feet away you just know you're going to be able to get it close enough to make your putt, then it's not time yet for you to worry about anything else, because on this standard chip, you still have some room for improvement. And by the way, once you become an A+ chipper, then pitching is not so hard, but you can't learn it in reverse. You can't learn it in reverse. All right, the final thing is putting. It can very aptly be said that putting represents 50% of the game. Why? Because remember, there are 18 holes, and par is roughly about 72 for most golf courses. Par figures allow 2 putts per hole, and that means that 18 times 2 is 36. Okay, that means that 36 of the 72 shots is with 1 club, and the remaining 30, so the other 36, are with the shots split between other 13 clubs, okay? And so 1 club makes up 50% of everything you do. And so while it's not the part of the game that likely attracted you to golf to begin with, it's so vitally important. And so at the conclusion of your next round, when you shoot 5 over or 15 over or 25 or 30 over, I want you to review in your mind, how many shots were lost because you didn't adhere to one of those 3 things? Or let's just say you failed in one of those 3 areas. How many shots did you lose because you hit it out of play? You just didn't keep it in play. How many shots did you lose because you couldn't get your chip shot on the green or wasn't anywhere close? And then, and this might be the most telling, how many shots did you lose because you 3-putted? And by the way, if you're 3-putting 5 and 6 and 7 times a game and you work on your putting and it becomes better, you might say, okay, I don't 3-putt anymore, so I used to average 7 3-putts a game. Now I don't 3-putt at all. I must be 7 shots better. No, you'll be way more better than that. Because if you eliminated those 3-putts and turned them into 2-putts, that means you also turned a lot of 2-putts into 1-putts. And so we're talking about maybe 10 or 12 shots just from that. And then the confidence you get from knowing you can get that ball in the hole. And the fear of finishing a hole is something you no longer experience. And so let me say it again, the 3 areas that you need so that you're not just getting hits and not scoring runs, but rather you're working on something that's really going to show some value. Work on solely keeping the ball in play. Not hitting these great shots that are so exhilarating that's going to make everybody clap, but rather somewhere north and south where you can get a club on it again. Work on your chipping. Get that thing close enough, or believe you can, get it close enough to the hole to make the putt. And then finally, work on your putting. Eliminate 3-puttings the best you can. Even the person with the least physical skill and physical strength can become a better putter. All right? Those are the 3 areas. I want to thank you for watching. I'll talk to you soon.